Hi guys and welcome. You're joining me today for a video on how to do wrap trousers. Now I'm going to be making them in sheer floaty fabric for the beach. Now this is the pair that Katie made and I'm going to show you so you've got in your mind what they're going to look like. So you can see here you've got a front and a back and the side of your legs are open because it's going to wrap around. Now let me just see. Where I've explained that there's two different sizes in straps, this is the two different sizes. So let me just tie these on me. These aren't mine, these are my daughter's, but I'm just trying them on so you can see actually what they do look like. And she's a lot thinner than me. Right, so I'm just going to tie that and then show you how that's tied around the back. So that's how it's tied around the back, so you've not got loads of fabric here causing bulk, and that's why I said go for a shorter strap. We're going to take these round. Yep, so we're going to get this, and then you've got a lovely longer strap that you're going to bring up, tie that, and this hangs lovely as a bow because it's sheer, and because she's done it full, she's made it a lovely wide piece instead of narrow. Now she's a lot taller than me, my daughter, so this is why they're too long on me, but you can see there how you've got your opening, and this is where I said like this will be closer on Katie, like I said, because she's not as big as me. So let me show you how to get your measurements. Right, so to get your waist, if you wanted it to come here and then have that area for tying, then that for me would be 40. So half of that would be 20, but then I would add 2 inch on for the seam allowance on both sides because you've got two sides. And then for the crutch, you're going to come underneath your leg and you're going to put the tape measure up to where you want the trousers to sit. So if that was me, that would be 30. So that halved again would be 15. Now you don't need to add any seam allowance on that because you've took it up to where you want it to sit. But that's how you get your crutch measurement. For the length of them, either get a pair of trousers that you're happy where they sit on the waist and you can measure them from the waist to the length if that's the length you want them. That's an easy way to get your measurement. Or put your tape measure where you want your trousers to sit again, and then measure them how long you want them, and again add your seam allowance on the hem. You don't need a seam allowance on the top because really it's going to be sitting in your waistband. Got the fabric on the table and this is the fold. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be marking the length of the leg, and for my daughter that's going to be 44 inches, and that's allowed seam allowance. So I'm going to mark that from the top. And I've marked that. I'm going to be cutting all the way across that to give me my one piece. So you want your fabric to be the right side on the inside. I'm going to put them together and I'm going to lay this on the table, making sure that that is all lined up. What I'm going to do now then, I'm going to mark. I'm going to mark it 5 inch here because like I said, this is the bit that's universal. So I'm going to put a line at the end of the 5 inch, and then where her crutch is, it's 27, but Dividing that by 2 gives you 13.5, but I'm going to round it up to 14, and I'm going to mark that to 14 there. And then this is where you're just going to come up and mark your crotch. A waist is 28, so you're dividing that by 2, which is going to give you your 14. So that is, you'd have your 14 there and your 14 on the back. That's where you're getting your 28 inch. But then I've allowed an inch for each side of the trouser that needs turning over. Right, so let me get this crotch area cut out first. Now, my daughter wants these to be quite wide legged. So I'm going to put my tape there and I'm going to taper it out so she gets a wider leg going towards the bottom. And they're going to be quite wide for her. And then I'm just going to see how far that's coming at the bottom, and that's coming 3.5 inches. So that's what so I make sure that I get the next leg the same. So that is your first wrap round leg. Right, so what I need to do now then, I need to cut the waistband. Where's my off bits? Right, so I've got a 56 and a 88, so I'm going to have to join one to get me the 88, which I will put a join in the back. And in fact, I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut it to 9. So I'm cutting it at 9, and then I'm actually marking it at 4.5, so I'm going to get 2 pieces out of this to join to make the lovely long one. So let me just see what this is. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut this to 22.5, which is going to give me 45. And then I'm going to do the same with that piece, because that's going to give me the 90. But with the join, it's not going to be far off the 88 that I'm wanting. So this is going to be the tie that's going to come around the front. Now this is not going to be as thick as Katie's because I haven't got as much fabric left as what Katie had, but that will be the one. I'm going to join it, so it's going to be one piece that that will make the front tie. And then that's going to be the tie that goes around the back. Right, so I'm going to set my iron up because I'm going to press the seams. So what I'm doing at this point is I've got the outside legs and I'm simply going to be pressing these in. And I'm going to come to the bottom. And I'm going to turn that over again. So this is going to be pressed in place, ready to sew. Right, so I'm just going to now stitch down the side seams on the legs. Let's get this one. We're gonna miss you, come to see that girl with zoom, 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 zoom. So I'm going to go back to the overlocker now. I'm going to stitch all around the crotch, and I'm going to stitch the 2 ties on the waistband. Now what I'm going to be doing at this point is I'm basically pressing the waistband, but on the inside of it, what I'm going to be doing all the way across, I've got a wet piece of cloth there. So I'm going to turn one side over and start pressing it. And then I'm going to put this wet cloth over where I've just pressed that to give it an extra sharp edge. I'm going to do the other side now. And once again, I'm going to get this cotton, make sure that that's folded over what I've just done. It's not very good at pressing this fabric, so this is just going to give it a better crease than without it. And then I'm going to fold it over make sure that these are lining up. And again, I'm going to grab from my cloth that's damp. So that's going to give me a sharp wind to work with. Now I'm going to do the rest off camera because it is quite time consuming. So at this moment in time, guys, there is no front and back to these wrap trousers. And it's going to be the straps that's going to dictate which is the front and which is the back. Right, so I'm going to get the shortest one first, and I'm going to line the 2 centre pieces up, and then I'm going to clip that at the end. Now, my purpose of pressing this waistband is, one, when this is laid on front now, I'm going to line the edges up, but I'm going to stitch in that crease where I've ironed it, and that's going to keep my seam allowance level on the waistband. Okay, let me get the other side. Right, so I'm going to take these to the Duke and we're going to stitch them in place. So I'm going to take that first clip off, and I'm just going to put that fabric underneath, and like I said, where I've got the ironing pressed seam there, so where, if you can see the crease where the iron's pressed it, that is what I'm going to be stitching into. Now I'm going to get the tie at this point, and I'm going to fold it the opposite way because I'm going to stitch a point on the end at this point. So it's not just a straight plain end. just going to cut that across the excess fabric. I'm going to turn that through. I'm just going to poke that end through. So I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the exact same. Right, let me get the other side. Here we go. Once again, making sure that the ends are lining up, and I'm going to that line that's been pressed, and then stitching this in place. Now what I've just done, and I've just done it off camera guys, and I've just been and pressed this on this side first, which is the wrong side, then I turned it over and I pressed it on the right side, so this is nice, flat and crisp. So I'm going to start off by just turning this over, and I'm just fetching it just slightly below that stitch line that I've got. And then I'm going to work my way along with this, just coming below that row of stitching. Right, I'm not pinning any of these end bits because they don't need to be pinned, because it's been pressed, that is going to sit in place and behave itself. Now let me just get to the other side. So at this point guys, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be stitching this down. Okay, so I need to take the pins out from underneath and keeping an eye on that fabric is just coming underneath. I'm going to keep the stitch running just on top. So that will look all neat and tidy as you're going across. And I'm keeping it quite close to the edge. You can see with all the pressing that I did on that waistband and strap that everything was just smooth and neatly lying in place when I stitched it. I didn't need to use many pins or clips but they are going to be lovely and wide for her. Now I'm not doing any more on these today because it's actually coming up on Thursday page, so I'm going to get her to try them on and then just make sure that the length is going to be perfect for her, because I have allowed a bit extra, but they're going to look gorgeous on her. So guys, that is how easy it is to make a pair of wrap-round trousers pants. And like I said, these two are perfect for the beach. The sheer, they're going to be breezy, they're lightweight. I'm personally going to make myself some, and I'll probably make Paige some. I've got lots of black lace, so I'm going to make myself some black lace ones and Paige some. Because let's face it guys, if you can't be a little bit saucy at times and you've got the fabric, why not? So thanks for joining me guys. Take care for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.